We are about to embark on an immersive journey through the corridors of our minds. Stand by as we prepare for departure.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to the Productivity with Peace of Mind podcast adventure. Our journey will begin in just a moment. Inhale deeply and exhale. Our voyage takes us on a captivating tour, diving deep into the intricate layers of our thoughts and imagination. Brace yourselves for the complexities of our evolution. For a safe and enjoyable journey, stay seated, secure your helmet and protective goggles, and keep hands, feet, and legs inside while the ride is moving. Now relax and enjoy.
Today we have with us Sarah Bowser, known as the weird, nerdy mom who struggled with internal chaos while maintaining this exterior facade on the outside. But her journey with dealing with this anxiety, the guilt, the fear led to creating systems that brought order to her life and allowed her to build her own confidence. She's now an unconventional coach and published author, and she helps quirky and distracted individuals get their lives together and feel that confidence in themselves for their own lives. She has this relatable struggle with the chaos that in our minds and that mental clutter that we all experience and the pressure to conform and fit in. It really helps us understand what she's going through and relate it back to our own journeys and the things that we might be facing and the challenges that we want to overcome. So I'm super excited to have you here today, Sarah. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here too.
Awesome. And so I know something you talk about is that this cookie cutter approach to systems in our lives or our businesses really aren't for everybody. And I love this idea because I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, I tried this thing that this one person does, didn't work for me. Maybe I'm a failure. Maybe I'm not good
Yeah.
enough, right? Like all those things start to come up with us. So what does that look like and how can we, kind of start to understand that we don't have to follow the same system everybody else is following?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because often we're sold these very structured systems and it's very
Yeah.
like a lot of the times everyone's thinking, oh, everyone just wants a step by step of what to do, of how to get how to do things, what are the one, two, three that needs to happen in order
Yeah.
to achieve this goal or to be successful in my job or in my business. And it's it'll be a very rigid structure where there's not necessarily room for customization or changing things up. And it gets to the point where you're almost afraid to kind of branch out anymore or to
Yeah.
leave that system because we're being told this is how to do it. This is the only way
Mm,
to do it. This is how you're going to be successful is if you follow step one, two, three, and straying from that system is going to just make everything even more of a mess than it already was. And a lot of times it's going to require the use of very specific tools that maybe you've never used before or that you're not really a fan of. It's not an intuitive system for you. And it doesn't, your brain doesn't like really connect with it. And
yeah.
it could even require like a paid subscription where if you're on a budget or if it's just you don't want to be locked into something like that, like it can raise up even more barriers for you. And it could even enforce that, like you said, enforce that belief that everything else out there is wrong. And this is the only
Yeah.
system that you should follow. And if you fail, it's because you weren't following the system
Mm,
exactly the way you were supposed to. Where in reality, you could be following the system step by step by step, but because it's not connecting with the way that your brain works, the way that your own intuitive internal systems work with how whether it's how you process different to do items or you process the way different tools work. It's not because you're not following the system, it's because the system isn't the right structure for you. It's not working with you. It's kind of forcing you into this tiny little box that you're not able to thrive in. And it brings up all these feelings of like the guilt of I'm just not good enough. I'm not strong enough to
Yeah.
be able to figure this out. Obviously, if I had what it takes to get my shit together, I would be able to make the system work. And
Yeah.
so obviously I must just not be able to handle it, or I can't, or you just it reinforces the guilt and the feeling of failure. And on top of it, if you did spend money on it, you're feeling like you can't move forward from it or move away from it because
Mhm.
you would just be wasting all that money that you poured into it to get the system, to get the software, to get the course that's teaching you how to do it all. And it makes it very stressful. And it just, when you're already dealing with anxiety on a day-to-day basis, it can make things even worse and more difficult for you to function. So that's why the cookie cutter systems just kind of make my skin crawl a little bit because of all of that.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's like it's all of a sudden you're like, oh, it must be me, right? Like
Hmm.
there must be something wrong with me,
Yeah.
or if I just tried harder. But in reality, like we could take 10 of us and go
Yeah.
follow the same system. And like these systems could be like how to do XYZ in your business, how to, grow in your career, how to build a
Hmm.
resume, right? Like it could be any of these things, but like when you
Yeah.
go out and you like find this way to do something, you could literally take somebody super successful and have all of us follow exactly every single step they take, right? Like go to that networking
Hmm.
event, go do that thing,
Yes.
right? Like all these
Yes.
steps we could take. And it wouldn't be the same path because we're different
Oh,
people with different processing systems,
exactly.
with different lenses.
Yes. Yeah, we all view the world differently. We all
Yeah.
have our own backstory that's going to um kind of dictate to some extent how we come to understand different systems. It could be where you don't have the financial power to be able to keep up with these systems. It could be where you're dealing with something like dyslexia or another um learning challenge that keeps you from being able to use certain systems in the way that they were designed, and then to have it pushed back at you to make you feel like you're a failure because you're not following the system. It just reinforces the beliefs that we're never going to be able to get it all together. We're never going to be able to escape the chaos. We're never going to be able to actually show the world or show our family or show whoever that we're capable of being adult humans to some extent.
Yeah, yeah. So like if we came to you, Sarah, and we're just feeling like, gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. There's all this chaos in my mind. I've tried these different, so whatever it is we're trying to achieve. Let's just
Mhm.
like for the sake of simplicity, we'll say we're just trying to achieve a goal. And that could be in your business, in your career, in your life, right? Something you're trying to achieve and you've looked at these different systems. There's so much information out there. Like it's like a blessing and a curse to have
Yes.
the access to all the data and information we have because
There's so much
it's
out
it's
there.
amazing, but it can become overwhelming. So if we come to you and we're trying to build something or create something or start something, and we don't even know how to initially calm our own minds to
Hmm.
find our own system, right? Find what works for us. What's that first step? Or like, what's the first thing you would tell us in climbing that, big scary mountain of a a
Yeah.
big challenge project?
Yeah, I think the first, like, I love me a good plan. I love making plans.
Yeah.
I love making my own systems. I love trial and error. But I think in order to get to the point where you're ready to even just dive in to the trial and error
Yeah.
phase, you
Yeah.
need to start with lists.
Okay.
And I have lists galore. I sometimes to a fault. And whether you do it in a Google Doc or in Word or on a scrap piece of paper or in a really pretty notebook or whatever it is, just make a list or do some kind of a brain dump just to get it all out there. Like
Yeah.
whether it's for your business, for home, for taking care of family, trying to keep track of all the hobbies that you want to try. Just brain dump it all out. Don't try to get it into any semblance of making sense. If like, it just
Yeah.
let yourself get it all out there. Like what
Yeah.
like don't try to get your brain to go and just focus in this direction. Like if you start off like making a list about all the stuff you need to get done for work or for a project or for your business or for the first grade back to school shopping list. Like just write it all out and whatever comes up, whether it matches to that initial thought of what you wanted to put out there, like just keep going with it. Don't edit
Yeah.
yourself while you're writing the list. Just the more that you can get out of your head and onto paper, the easier it is going to be to some extent. I mean, it's gonna take some mental
Mhm.
gymnastics at first, especially if this is something that you haven't done and um you're kind of like starting from scratch, of course, but it's just getting everything out there. That way you can kind of
Yeah.
see like, okay, like how much do I actually have to kind of figure out? And then it's kind of figuring out like, okay, once everything is out there, how do I want to break it out? Do I want to,
Yeah.
can I put it into specific categories? Can I put it into different life areas? Is it based on when in the calendar it has to happen? Is it based on who is involved? There's no right or wrong way to categorize the list. It's really just whatever intuitively feels right for you. And I
Mhm.
know that's kind of like very broad and not like but again I'm not trying to give like a system or anything because everybody is going to
Right. Right.
have their own unique needs as far as what they need to get that chaos to some semblance of okay,
Right.
here's where I need to go. So it's just figuring out like from that brain dump how could you organize it, whether it's categories, life areas, timing, who's involved, stuff like that. And then figuring out, okay, if I can get that messy brain dump into a semblance of order through that
Mhm.
method of categorization that you choose, then it comes down to, okay, let's start to prioritize things. Like,
Yeah.
do I want to prioritize one category over another? Do I want to prioritize one or two items in this category, one or two in this, and then kind of go down the list like alternating categories. Like, what is it that's going to make sense for to get you to the point where you can start to check things off and start to be like, oh, hey, I'm making progress. I actually know what I'm doing now for a change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And so it's okay, you start with the brain dump, which
Hmm.
I personally love because I have so many thoughts spinning around in my head every single day, hour, minute, week,
Yep.
etc. And to take it out of my brain and onto paper, I have that mental clarity. And then
Yes.
I like the next step too, because like figure out like what I'm hearing you say is figure out where it goes, right? Once
Hmm.
you get it all out of your brain, you don't judge it, you don't try to control it, you just
Exactly.
pull it all out. And then the next step is figure out where it goes in a way that works for you. So like that's the
Yes.
system to create your own system, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then once you know where it all goes, you can start to figure out like, okay, like everything, like I have these 3 or 4 piles or buckets or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
How can I organize within those and make it clear, okay, these are the priorities. These are the things that I can just ditch. These are the things that are just kind of like happy accidents. Like if they happen, they happen. If they don't, they don't, kind of
Right.
thing. And it makes it a little bit easier then to figure out like, okay, what are some of the things that I could try out, that I could experiment with? Like, do I want to do like a paper planner for this bucket or a spreadsheet for this bucket, or go all fancy in on a kind of tool or software system to kind of keep track of things? Having them in those separate buckets really lets you kind of see like, oh, okay, this could all kind of morph into this ecosystem over here, and this is how they could all flow together. It lets you see the forest for the trees and kind of also keep you from going down too many rabbit holes, if that makes sense. Because if you,
Yes.
when you don't,
Yes.
when everything's not sitting there in front of you, a lot of times you'll start, I found, at least for myself and with some of my clients, that when you're diving into trying to figure out, okay, I need to figure out what this piece of the system needs to be. I need to figure out what this is going to go. And you end up going down like these rabbit holes where maybe you start looking into a system like Trello to start organizing things, but then like Trello has all of these integrations that you can get, and then you see this really cool one and you just start going like researching this one and this
Mhm.
one and this one, and then you start to
Yeah.
forget kind of where you started from and what the point was. So what,
Yeah.
and you're just going down these rabbit holes, and when you come out you're like, what was I trying to accomplish here? I just wasted all
Yeah.
this time. And being able to see everything kind of broken out into the different buckets or into the different categories or what have you lets you see like, okay, I could research this tool here, and if I start to go down a rabbit hole, I can like, it maybe won't go as deep because you're realizing that you can stay within this area or this ecosystem for this piece. Whereas if you start down the Trello integration rabbit hole, this piece is really over this bucket here. I want to stay in this bucket right now. And it kind of helps kind of keep you on track in a way to help kind of keep yourself from getting too lost in the weeds.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Trello is a project management, kind
Sorry.
of task management software. Yeah, no, just gonna throw that in there. And then I think, oh shit, I had another thought. What was it? Oh, and so it sounds like we also don't want to get too lost, maybe organizing our organization, right? And
Yes.
focus on what were we trying to do in the first place.
Yeah, like we don't want to overcomplicate it, because when
Yeah.
we get to the point where we're overcomplicating, it makes it like we get more invested in the tool itself or more
Yeah.
invested in the system. And it's like, okay, am I spending all this time putting the system together? But is it actually going to serve the purpose that I need? Like, yes, it's nice and shiny and new and it's so fun to
Mhm.
put together, but
Yeah.
am I actually going to use it down the road? Or am I actually going to be able to keep up with making it like pretty and like, I think back to some of the things that I've tried in the past. Like I tried bullet journaling and like watching all these like Instagram
Yeah.
reels of people doing all the pretty journals and tracking all of their habits and tracking like having all these like beautiful calendars. And I'm like, I can do that. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
And I get like three
Yeah.
pages in and I'm like, I am not an artist. I cannot make it pretty, and this is not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So finding what works for you, right? And even as you were
Yeah.
talking, that's what I was thinking about too, is like, is it sustainable?
Yes. Because if it's not sustainable, it's not, you don't want to go too far into it, because then it's like you're losing like, and like, yes, maybe you're losing time in a practical sense, but I don't like to think of it like that, just because it like, I don't think necessarily that you've lost the time. You still learned something, you've still gained something out of the
Yeah.
experience, but it's if you spend too much time on any one experiment, it kind of starts to pigeonhole you, kind of like when we were talking at the beginning with like the super structured systems of like,
Yeah.
well, I'm so invested in this now, I can't back out of it. So even if it's something of our own creation that isn't
Yeah.
working for us, it's like, okay, I need to change course, but I spent so much time putting all of my effort into designing this system, and now I'm just gonna like let it sit and die on my bookmarks, like on my Google Chrome. Like, what am I gonna do next?
Yeah, that was a hard one for me, I know early on because it was like, gosh, I did. I spent money, I spent time
Hmm.
building these things, but really what we learn over time is that through the process of learning what doesn't work or maybe what works temporarily,
Hmm.
we then learn what works next. So it's
Yes.
like you said, it's
Yes.
not wasted time. We're learning
No.
something, we're growing, and we might have not gotten to the system or process we have for ourselves for our goals now
Hmm.
if we hadn't started with that first, simple draft or simple process that we initially had and moved on from.
Exactly. And even it's okay to I feel like we get so bogged down as a society of like being productive and reaching our
Yeah.
goals and going
Yeah.
from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, that we kind of lose the ability, or we forget how to be flexible and adaptable to some extent. Like,
Yeah.
yes, like we learn how to adapt to changes in our environment and changes in relationships, like whatever, what have you, like just like day-to-day change. But when it comes to like breaking out of the mindset that I've started down this path, I can't veer off this path now. Like I have to get from A to B. I can't take a side quest over to point B or to point D, or kind of take the long winding route and try new things along the way. It's more, okay, started here, I'm setting the GPS and I'm going. And I'm not gonna just stop it, not
Yeah.
gonna stop until I get there. I'm not gonna go zoom off the exit to go look at the big peanut, as my kids would say, watching Bluey. It's just it's just blinders on, we're gonna go down the path. And I think we need to learn like how we can start to be a little bit more flexible in that. Like how can we get our okay with ourselves like doing the side quests, because sometimes the side quests are what give us the greatest lessons. That's how we can find the systems and the tools that really do work for us really well. And I think taking that leisurely path, learning to be okay with like, all right, this didn't work for me. I'm just going to I'm going to scrap it. Like, yeah, I can use bits and pieces of it, but I'm not going to necessarily devote all my time to it. I'll see how I can maybe merge it with something else that I'm going to test out. And if that doesn't work, I can move on to testing out something else. It's just learning. We have to relearn how to throw out the map and start again. And yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great point because, life is unpredictable.
Hmm.
And I'm a huge, you said it earlier, you love planning. I love a good plan. And especially when it's beautiful and color coded and you feel really good about it. But life doesn't always go the way we
No,
plan. And sometimes it evolves for the better, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it goes in a direction we're not super happy with. And
exactly.
I think we're always, faced with a decision. We always get a choice.
Hmm.
But how do we shift our mindset to that? Like, how do we really see and understand, like you said, throw out the map? How do we understand that it's okay to actually like throw that map out, or maybe not throw the map out, but shift directions or go a new direction and try a new, project or way of doing things? Because I think, as we're talking, it makes me think about it's more about why we're doing it and what we're experiencing and living into versus,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, just next, next, next.
Right. And I think so much of it, so much of our self-confidence as individuals and our sense of like belonging a lot of times gets caught up in what we perceive to be society's expectations of us. And
Yeah.
we feel that there's so much pressure on us from like grade school on, like, oh, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to like, what's your job going to be? Where are you going to go to college? When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids?
Yeah.
When are you going to do this? Like, there's so much projection on us and expectations, whether actual expectations or just what we perceive to be the expectations based on our different dynamics throughout our lives, that there's certain paths that we have to follow, and that if we don't follow this specific path, we're going to be judged, or if we're not perfect at this, like we're going to be looked down upon, or people will think less of us, that we have to get the good career, we have to be successful, be valedictorian, do all the different things in order to make our parents proud, our grandparents proud, our bosses proud. And we lose, like, we feel that we're confident when we do those things, but in a sense we're losing our self-confidence because we're putting so
Yeah.
much of our value in what we think others are thinking about us. And really, like, one of the biggest things when it comes to learning how to be flexible and adapt and redraw your map so that you can take those side quests or take the more leisurely route is learning to be okay with your imperfections and not
Yeah.
needing learn. And this is not easy by any means, because it's not like this is something that I
Yeah.
struggle with on a day-to-day basis, is trying to, okay, I don't have to live up to XYZ. I can
Yeah.
be who I am. I can enjoy the things that I enjoy, and I can still be successful. I can still tame all the chaos that's happening in my head. I can make myself proud. I don't have,
Mm.
if I can make myself proud, then by extension, those around me can be proud of me, as like, because I'm proud of myself. And it's something, it's not an easy thing to try to figure out by any means,
Yeah.
because as a recovering people pleaser, like, a lot of the time all I want to do is just be like, I'm going to make my boss happy, I'm going to make this I got all the I got to do everything for all of these other people to make them happy. But
Yeah.
what I've learned over the last few years is just, okay, if I'm going to have any semblance of balance or control over my life, I have to start kind of taking in what makes me happy. And if that means taking the long road, so be it. If it means going down this side quest to do this new project that has absolutely nothing to do with the career that I picked when I was 12, then so be it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do it in a way that feels good for me, because I'm not, we shouldn't live our lives to make other people happy. We shouldn't live our lives in a way that makes us afraid of being a failure because we can't conform to the majority. Like, we should be able to be able to be happy with, okay, I can be the weird, I'll be the weird odd one out, and follow my own path. And as we start to and as I'm like talking, I'm realizing like, this, what the heck does this have to do with like organization, or but like mental chaos like ensues like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much
No, it's
more
good.
than just like actual like physical organization or digital organization or what have you. It's, if you're, when you're struggling with the mental aspect of it too, whether it with like the anxiety and the guilt and the people pleasing, like, it affects your ability to um handle all the rest of it. So like, by I've found, at least for myself, that by experimenting with different ways of organizing and planning and figuring different things out, I've been able to get more confident to say like, oh no, I can go on this side quest. Or oh no, I'm going to take this trip because I want to, not because it's the right time necessarily to do it, whether it be financially or maybe I don't have the vacation time for it or what have you. It's I'm going to take the adventures and experiment with the different things that I think will work for my brain and for my life. And it's an ever progressing journey, and it's a practice. You're never gonna it's and that's why you need to embrace the imperfection of it, because you're
Yeah.
never gonna have the perfect journey. And because
Yeah.
even if you do follow the GPS straight from point A to point B, like there's still gonna be traffic. There's still
Yep.
going to be different obstacles that come up along the way, whether like it's there's never that perfect smooth ride. So it's just finding the path that works best for you. That was very rambly. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's good. It kind of tied like the weirdness piece back to it too. Um, so it sounds like it's really about questioning almost everything, right? Like
Mhm.
question how you do things, question
Yeah.
what you want, what you think, what you believe, right? Because then you're going to end up doing things the way you want. And when we look at projects or goals or, business or career and things that we want to, do and create, are we doing it because it sounded good, because someone else did it, because someone else
Hmm.
said that was a good idea, right? Like, even if you, let's say, branch out of corporate and you're starting your own business, are you then just following other entrepreneurs? Are you truly
Right.
doing what you want to do? Is it truly what serves you and your lifestyle? And like you said, your brain.
Yeah. Like, are you following it because someone told you to follow it, or are you following it because it feels like it actually feels good to your brain
Yeah.
to do it? Like, um,
Yeah.
I always come back to the Lord of the Rings because like when I think of like coming like making your own map and like doing all the things, like all I ever see is like the Tolkien's hand drawn maps of Middle Earth, and like how like the fellowship like all went down this one path at the beginning, but then they all split up and went up like their different ways at the end
Okay.
of the fellowship. I'm not sure if you're a Lord of the Rings person or not, but
I haven't seen it.
it
No.
okay. But
But I got
like
you. I'm
so
with you on the visual. Yeah.
yeah, so like the nine are like going down, like they're heading to Mordor together. They're going to destroy the One Ring together, and then by the end of the
Yep.
first book, Sam and Frodo are going off one direction. Merry and Pippin are captured and going off with the orcs in another direction. Like Gandalf is becoming Gandalf the White. You've got Boromir over here facing his peril. Like everything is just like everyone goes off and has their own journey to take and explore and to experience. And whether things work out or whether it's necessary, maybe it's not necessarily like a super easy happy journey the whole time, but it
Yeah.
still gets you to the point where you're able to understand what you need and who you're meant to be, what your brain needs in order to kind of go forward. And um you'll it gets you to the 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 end result, I guess, whether it's the long road or the short road.
Yeah. And it's kind of a great analogy too to something you were kind of saying or hinting at earlier. It's like
Mhm.
we go through life kind of being told, what to think, what to like.
Mhm.
And then as we, it's almost like, not to just go back to like childhood and like,
Yeah.
our adolescent years, but it's like so much is given to us in our messaging of, what are
Yes.
we saying? What are we hearing? What vocabulary do we use in our everyday life? What kind of goals are we creating for ourselves, right? Like all these things that we go ahead and learn. And then as we go off on our own path, which that could be in adulthood, that could be, wherever
Yeah.
we, any time in life where we branch off, that could be the end of a career, that could be retirement. It could be any time we branch off. When we've been in one place, kind of submerged in a culture or an area for a while, we can step out of that not really sure like who we are or
Yeah.
what we want and how we want to think. And I think then we end up like hiding in busyness, right? We like
Yes.
hide in all these
Yeah.
things like, oh, if I just distract myself, I won't realize that I don't have the
Yes.
clarity. Right.
Exactly. We keep ourselves so busy, like we're going, 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 like, oh, my kids are going to be in all these sports, so I don't have time to sit down and make a meal, let alone like sit
Yeah.
down and think. And we give ourselves project after project after project at work or in our business, or I'm going to do this house project next. Like I just redid this room, but I got through the rest of the house and I'm going to go back to this first room again and redo it for a third time. And we think that if we just keep ourselves busy, that we won't see the fear that we have and the like just that feeling of I don't even know who the heck I am.
Yeah.
And by taking the time to experiment with whether it's organizational stuff or just hobby stuff, like ideas, philosophies, whatever, like taking the time to go on the side quests, to do the experiments, kind of gives us the ability, like, even if it is in like middle age, to be able to say like, oh, I don't have to stick on this same path that I started down when I was 13 and my math teacher said I was really good at math, so I'm just going to kind of continue on into this math field. Or I did really great on this accounting class when I was a senior in high school, so I'm going to spend the rest of my life crunching numbers. Like it gives you the chance, like if you're ready to slow down, cut out some of the busyness and experiment a little, it gives you the
Yeah.
chance to know yourself better and really see like how does my brain function and what is it that makes my life actually simpler to kind of just meander along.
So, you talk about, embracing our own weirdness and like being okay with making our own path, right? Like figuring out who we are and not letting this idea of who we're supposed to be,
Hmm.
whoever gives those ideas to us, box us in and confine us. So, how do we overcome because that brings up a lot of emotion, right? That's
Yes.
scary. How do we
Yeah.
overcome that?
It's it's learning to recognize that everyone's going to have their own shit. Like
Yeah.
we have those perceptions that everyone's judging us, that society expects all of these different things of us, but everyone has their own shit that they're struggling with keeping it together, whether it's work or business or home or themselves. And it's okay that you don't have it all together. It's okay that things don't go perfectly right. And
Mm.
being able to embrace the imperfections and let
Yeah.
go of our need to have everything perfect and just right and everything in its place. And otherwise, if it all falls apart, then like the society is going to look at us and think that we're horrible failures. And it being able to let go of that perfectionism really is the key, because when we are focused on that perfectionism, we're really feeding our own fear of judgment. We're feeding our fear of what society thinks of us, what our peers think of us, what our family thinks of us. And by telling ourselves that it's okay to be different, that it's okay to nerd out about things, like I just nerded out about Lord of the Rings randomly.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's okay, because the things that you enjoy, the systems that work for you,
Yeah.
that's what you enjoy and what works for you. For it's not for other people. If other
Yeah.
people judge you for it, that's on them. That's not
Hmm.
that's not you, and it's their judgment's not for you. It's for them.
Yeah.
And we just need it, like, and this is a really hard mindset to get into, and especially when like when you've been in this mindset of perfectionism for a good chunk of your life. But the more you practice at it and the more you think about it and work at it, the easier it gets to just be like, all right, I'm going to embrace my imperfections, and I'm going to go on my random rants, and I'm going to go on my side quests, and what others think be damned.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like giving ourselves permission, right? Of like
Yes, absolutely.
deciding, like making that choice, putting the flag in the sand. I am going to be me, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna even mess up figuring that out. Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna make mistakes even in that.
Yes. And even if, like, yes, plant your flag, but even if the flag has to be like one of those little tiny like umbrella like drink flags that you
Oh,
stick
I
in
like
like
that.
your martini
Yeah.
or whatever, like
Yeah.
start as small as you have to like work your
Yeah.
way up, but just practice planting your flag. Um I'm gonna try not to nerd out because there's a whole Eddie Izzard bit about about flags and do you have a flag? But I won't go into the um we'll stick with one nerdy rant for the for the
Okay.
episode.
Love it.
um but yeah, so start however small you need to, but work on planting that flag because you're worth it and your brain will thank you for planting the flag and experimenting and figuring out what works for you.
Yeah. And what freedom, that brings. And that just goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of that builds our confidence in
Yes.
ourselves
Yeah.
because we get to trust ourselves that we're figuring out who we are and what
Mhm.
we like and how we want to spend our time.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
know you offer these sessions, these co-working sessions where people can just hop on with you and what do you guys do? What do those look like?
Yeah, so every Monday I offer free co-working. It's a place where you can come and it's 2.5 hours every week. You can come for the whole time, come for part of it, whatever works. And it's just a place to get shit done, to experiment as you like, to just be your weird, nerdy self and um, sit in community with other people that are going to share your weird, nerdy quirkiness. And so there we do four Pomodoro sessions, so 25 minutes each with where we just kind of focus in on whatever we want to work on. And then we have some breaks in between, and in the middle, I do like an office hours time where we can just chat and nerd out on different things, or um, go like if people have questions about anything that they're working on, or if they just need to vent about something that's not working with what they're experimenting with, or anything like that. It's just a great place where you can kind of sit and be with other weirdos like me and just get shit done.
And you said the word Pomodoro. What is that?
Yeah, so it's they're different. It's like a timing session, like it's almost like a time block type system. So it's just 25 minutes of working time with breaks in between. So we do
Nice.
four blocks of 25 minutes. So so it would be four Pomodoros basically. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So great space to check out, connect
Yeah.
with other people, build a support system, get things done. And how can they join you for that free offer?
Yeah, so if you just go to my website, thatweirdnerdymom.com, there's a button right on the homepage, up in the corner to sign up to join us for co-working. So you just put in your email and you'll get the weekly reminders with the link to hop on the sessions.
Beautiful. And, you know, You have shared so much with us today. And, we're going to have the links for your stuff below. But
Awesome.
if someone is just like, gosh, I don't even know where to start to let go of, following the ways everyone else has been doing things or telling me how to do things, what would you say is just the one piece of wisdom or the first thing you want them to walk away with or do or take action on or remember from this conversation?
Yeah, I would say that it's okay to not be perfectly organized.
Yeah.
You don't you don't have to have your shit all together.
Yeah.
It's okay to embrace the mental chaos, to just kind of go with it and do what you can to manage it your own way.
Yeah.
Go with the trial and error, go with the experimentation. Don't let perfectionism keep you from trying out things that could be the key to help you, that makes your brain just go like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us today and,
Yes.
really breaking down why we don't have to follow the path of others, how, we can build our own confidence and find what works for us and, plant that flag that we're going to let go of our perfectionism and just be us and live into that. And so, what an amazing message. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm so grateful to have been able to talk with you today.
Thank you for braving the inside of your mind with me. The better we understand ourselves, the more deeply we understand the world. And as our awareness grows, life just gets better and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review and share this with anyone else you think could benefit from listening. A quick reminder that the content shared in this podcast is for informational purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, and the discussions here are not a substitute for professional advice. If you're dealing with a specific issue or need personalized guidance, please consult with a qualified professional. Your well being is important, and this podcast is simply a platform for sharing insights and experiences. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Until next time.